World of Wonder is proving to be the sneaky company we always thought they were. Yesterday night we received a copyright block on one of our reviews, and I have no doubt it's a direct result of the latest video from Bussy Queen, which introduced our work to a whole new audience. First of all, a very quick recap of how we got to this point. If you don't know, we have a review show of RuPaul's Drag Race called The Chop. I know, don't get me started on the name, that's a whole other mess and I won't get into that for this video, but it ain't cute, I can tell you that much. Now, this show is quite different from your average review because we review, well, the edit. Every Frankenstein confessional, every shady editing, every narrative pushed, and most importantly, how everything was accomplished. Clever cut and paste, refilming of confessionals months after the competition was over, manipulative story producing, and critiques of surgical precision that will ultimately make every queen fall in line with the alleged elimination order that was long decided before filming even started. Not to mention the cost of being on Drag Race, the outfits that ended up being used for paid advertisement for the show, or the draconian contract. Now, you can understand that if a show like this gathers momentum, it would be a huge inconvenience for those people who happily profit from the belief that everything you see on screen is an accurate depiction of reality. Most importantly, because we don't just tell you that something is fake, we show you why it is fake, how it was accomplished, which technique was implied, and why. Never forget the interview with the former Drag Race editor that basically confirmed everything we've been so vocal about for the past 2 years.
If two queens are having a conversation, who in the workroom should be hearing this or needs to be hearing this so that they can either comment on it or react to it later? I need to get a reaction shot of this person so it looks like they're listening. If I want it to seem like they're being talked about behind their back, I'll look for a shot where they're not paying attention. If there's 10 queens in a room, there could be up to like 15 mics and 4 cameras. I can access any of those cameras, any of those mics at any time. I'll just cycle through like, oh, do I have a camera of who's talking there? Oh, good, here's a close-up. Then I'll isolate that mic and I'll listen to like, oh, what are they saying? God, that's some amazing shade. That's gonna be great for either this scene or some later scene or some later scene or some later scene. The footage has been in the can forever. So you've got all that time to, oh, here are my story arcs, and oh, it's like a magic trick.
By the way, that video was forcibly taken down from YouTube, but we fought it and won, because criticism is not a privilege, it's a fundamental right. Incidentally, that's also what gave us the final push to start The Chop back in season 12. Now, copyright claims are nothing new on this channel or any creator on YouTube for that matter. But this claim is quite different from what we usually get, and for 3 very important reasons. Number 1, usually a claim will just block a video in the US, and that is because the issuing company, Viacom CBS, which is the corporate owner of VH1, bought the right to air the show in the US from World of Wonder, so it makes sense that they would block only viewers from that geographical area. It's still a lot of bullshit if you ask me, considering criticism and fair use are a universal right in every developed country, but, you know, it kinda makes sense. Number 2, and this is the important one, the claim didn't come just from Viacom CBS. Oh no, it was issued in conjunction with CollabDRM. Do you remember CollabDRM? This is the first time in the 5 years we've been creating content for this channel. Viacom has always put claims on our videos, but never CollabDRM. And behind that shell company called CollabDRM hides World of Wonder. They are the only one who own the Drag Race rights worldwide. With some exceptions, of course, depending on the contract between World of Wonder and Viacom CBS, or when the rights are sold to other media companies, especially for new iterations of the franchise, like Drag Race Spain for example. It can't be viewed on WOW Plus from Spain, because the rights for airing in Spain have probably been sold to a local network or a streaming service. Of course, World of Wonder can always claim that CollabDRM was acting by themselves. They made a mistake, they didn't know what they were doing, that this is not an abuse of the YouTube copyright system to silence criticism, and maybe even apologize for the mistake, and so on and so forth. But all of that sounds a little bit too convenient for my taste, mostly because of reason number 3, the most important one, the timing. Our video exposing what happened to Tamisha Iman and later on to so many other queens came out 2 weeks ago, but a new video from Bussy Queen came out yesterday to address new information about Tamisha concerning her future participation on All Stars, plus all the drama that's been recently going on. In that video, she mentioned us. But most importantly, she mentioned what we found out and how. And Bussy has a much larger reach than we do, with her video usually amassing no less than 100,000 views in less than a day. So it's very plausible that it caught the eyes of someone at World of Wonder, especially since they're probably keeping a good eye on her content because of her stunt with the RuPaul's Drag Race contract. And the moment she mentioned our channel to an audience that's probably going to grow to more than 500,000 people in less than a week, this happened. They picked one of our videos and manually blocked it worldwide so that nobody would see it. I repeat, manually. This was not done automatically by YouTube. Someone literally came to our channel, found 20 seconds of video we were criticizing during a 45-minute review, and blocked it worldwide so that nobody would see the entire thing. And one by one, they can continue picking up all of them until all of our hard work will disappear from YouTube. Because God forbid that there is a reasonable channel out there siding with the queens and everything they have to go through while being on the show. And this, I think, is exactly the problem. There are loads of people out there screaming left and right the most outrageous things, with little to no proof and no research whatsoever. But in this manner we are very different. We don't scream, we don't pick sides, everything we talk about is well researched and well documented, and most of all, since day one we always embraced a very reasonable and honest way of relating to this show. Enjoy it for an hour, live your fantasy, fill your hopes, scream at the screen, if that's how you get your life from it. But when the credits start rolling, come back to reality. Understand the manipulations that happen on the show, and always give every queen the benefit of the doubt. And by every queen, I really mean every queen. Because judging by the degree of control that World of Wonder has on the way they appear on TV, they more closely resemble puppets than actual human beings, independently of how they're being portrayed. If later on, one of them makes a mock of themselves on their own, on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is, then it's another story. But if it comes from the show, then question it. Always. Don't forget the contract, and by contract, they can even forge false information about any queen. And by contract, the queens will have to go along with it. So question everything, stay sharp, be reasonable, be smart, be human. Don't just say love, act out of love. For a brand that mostly relies on the illusion of reality and on the massive clout that comes from people's overreaction on social media, especially when they start targeting queens, you can very well understand how a show like ours will not sit well. We started this channel celebrating Drag Race through bright commentary videos that gathered millions of views and took a fraction of the work that it takes for doing the job. And believe me, we were perfectly fine doing just that. But it comes a time when people of good conscience need to give up the perks of going with the flow and start speaking out about the real human cost behind this incredibly lucrative franchise. These producers, these companies, they are running the biggest queer franchise in history to the ground, all while exploiting our queens to an unprecedented level. A contract is a contract is a contract. If you don't like it, don't sign it. I know that. And believe me, I agree with that. But that is just half of the story. The other half is that just because something is standard in the entertainment industry, just because something is part of what is considered normal, that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. And we should know that lesson very well, because most of us have been told since the day we were born that we should be normal. Walk like a man, talk like a man, be straight, be cisgender, be normal. Newsflash, normal doesn't mean something is right. It just means that something is common in a statistical way. But we are not numbers, we are people. And Drag Race is not just a show, it's the biggest queer franchise in history. Lives have really been changed for the better because of its reach and success. Opinions have been questioned, communities have been created, and change is slowly coming everywhere. But that change cannot come at the expenses of other people's lives. There has to be another way. I often read comments saying that if the Queen don't like the contract that they need to sign in order to appear on a show that basically has a monopoly on mainstream drag entertainment, they can just not sign it, give up the opportunity. I mean, after all, there are always other ways to show their talent to the whole world, right? And whenever I hear things like that, my mind wanders about those people who lived almost a century ago that told a brave woman that if she needed to go somewhere, she could have just walked instead of taking a bus, or at least she could have stood instead of taking a seat. But she took that bus and she took that seat, and that changed everything. Because standard, common, normal, they don't mean nothing. I wouldn't dare compare what she did with what we are doing here. But we can still take inspiration from her and keep her message alive, even in something that seems as trivial as a TV show. And if history has told us anything, is that change often comes from where you least expect it, and its impact might often reach well beyond what ignited the first spark. So who knows, maybe one day people won't be exploited this much for appearing on mainstream media. Maybe they won't have to surrender their private medical information or the way they appear, what they say, to whom they say it, or go along with false information about them, being paid peanuts, being relentlessly attacked on social media and in real life. I mean, a better world doesn't just happen to fall on your lap. You have to work and work hard for it, and always keep your head up. Or at least as much as you possibly can. We and many other creators on this platform, including the people on Reddit, yes, even those subreddits, the queens, and as well as many other people scattered in all the corners of the internet, we are all doing what we can to remind everyone of what really happens behind closed doors. And we will defend our right to speak up as much as we can. And if that means lawyer up, then lawyer it is. If they keep silencing our videos, defending this channel and its message will have a significant financial cost and the risk of being dragged to court by these two massive companies in order to defend our right to express our opinion. And this time we do need your help. So if you can, please help us. Spread this video wherever you can. Make everyone see what they are doing. You have a YouTube channel, make a video. Are you on Reddit? Start a thread. Are you on Twitter? Be vocal. If history has told us anything, is that they would probably rather back up than face the financial cost of being exposed for silencing reasonable criticism. Thank you so much for watching, and to celebrate this fucked up situation, a new episode of The Chop will be out very soon. Because dear world of wonder, this is my middle finger to you. Thanks to our patron for supporting our work, and hopefully I'll see you soon.